is coming from Josh Baer at Morgan Stanley. Please unmute, Josh, and go ahead and ask your question.
Great, thank you. Question for Aaron. As you continue to innovate and roll out all these new features across collaboration, workflow, security, governance, how should we think about the balance between addressing a larger TAM and maybe benefiting from consolidating some of that IT spend in different areas versus running into new or more competitors that play in some of these markets?
Yeah, great question. We spend a lot of our time thinking about that very dynamic of, adjacent categories, starting with content at the center. How far do we want to expand into adjacencies and making sure that we're doing, we're driving innovation in areas where we have a right to play and a right to win in that market, versus areas where actually we'd be better off partnering, driving deeper integration with our partners in those use cases. So we spend all of our time thinking about that dynamic as we look at our roadmap. Everything you saw in the presentation today throughout BoxWorks and from Diego just now, we believe we have a very strong position to win in these markets, whether that's advancing workflow, whether that's a lot of the core use cases around e-signature. Canvas is really just a natural extension of how you collaborate on content in the cloud. So in the landscape that you've currently seen, we believe that we can be a very strong player across these use cases for Box customers. But we do often, have debates internally, and we decide, we think a particular space actually makes more sense to partner in, and we'd rather integrate with the leading players in that space. But for the most part, if it has to do with content, whether it's securing that content, automating workflows around that content, collaborating around that content, or at the end of the lifecycle, retaining, governing, driving data privacy or discovery on that content, we believe that we should have really, really world-class first-party features in those areas.
Maybe one quick thing to add. One element that sometimes is a big differentiator is that some point solutions that don't have a platform basically present an opportunity for us to help the customer have that resolved in a platform way. So having electronic signatures standalone is not as powerful, but having them integrate with the security features that we have, the ability to automate, the ability to be compliant, and the ability to basically be close to where the content is, it makes it more powerful. And the same thing about whiteboard type of collaboration and so on. So anything that we add tends to have that extra synergy of the integration with the platform that point solutions cannot do. That extends the TAM to things that others cannot perhaps capture.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Josh. We have a question from Jason Ader at William Blair, and the question is, which of the new product announcements has the potential to be the most impactful?
Thank you. This is the hardest question to answer. Which child do you like the most? I would say the most important aspect of the new elements that we're launching is the integration to that platform that we have. The fact that they're not standalone. The fact that they actually work together. So we're always focused on the immediate next thing to deliver, but we maintain a significant level of focus on everything we already launched. We're not going to stop innovating and adding features to each one of them because we truly love each one of them. So all of these different children that we are basically giving birth to, where we basically have Sign is not going to stop having new features while we're launching Canvas. And we're going to continue to innovate also on our infrastructure as we continue to deploy globally and keep having zones in different places, and the addition to ML and AI to continue to advance the way we operate internally and build the application. So to me, the most magnificent part is that it's actually all in one place, all in one platform, all integrated, all secure and compliant and governable like nobody else does, while maintaining neutrality, which is also quite extraordinary. Meaning other companies go with point solutions or platforms that are closed, and our motto is stay actually connected, work with all of them.
Yeah, and I would underscore that it's very hard to pick favorites because they represent different parts of the value proposition, all with integration being the kind of core ultimate value we offer. So some customers we talk to get super excited about Canvas and being able to change how they do collaboration and brainstorms with Box. A lot of customers get really excited about our e-sign features because maybe they've been waiting for a couple enhancements for them to be able to roll it out more broadly. CISOs, very excited for a lot of the innovation we're doing in security. So very hard to pick a favorite. It's really the value of the integration. And I think the only other thing that I would underscore is because of the breadth of innovation you're seeing, you can tell that we're driving a high degree of just innovation velocity, which is super important to our customers.
Great, thank you. Our next question is coming from Eric Superger with JMP. Eric, please unmute.
Thank you for taking the question. Curious, how do you think this positions you relative to Microsoft Teams? Where are you seeing the customers most open to adopting you in place of Microsoft Teams? And how can you talk a little bit about how you think that road is going to evolve?
Sure. Yeah, I'll maybe just kick off with our high-level Microsoft philosophy, and Diego can build from here. But overall, and you'll see this at BoxWorks directly, we had Kirk, who is the COO of basically all of the kind of end-user apps on the Office 365 side at Microsoft, and he further endorsed, I think, and underscored our partnership. So first and foremost, we want to integrate with Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is used for video collaboration, real-time communication and chat. application development. Those are not spaces that we focus on. We only care about content. So we integrate quite nicely and quite complementarily into the Microsoft Teams environment. Where we differentiate heavily from Microsoft broadly is, unlike the Microsoft stack, which has OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, and a variety of other ways where you can manage or work with data, we provide a single platform that is integrated across the complete lifecycle of content. So storage, sharing, security, governance, collaboration, workflow automation, e-signature, that entire lifecycle in a single platform. So for customers that really, really have mission critical workflows around content, a bank that has to onboard clients, a life sciences company that has to do clinical drug discovery, a media company that is working with a ton of digital assets and media content, this is the lifeblood of those organizations. So to them, they don't want to fragment their data across the different platforms. They want to make sure they have a single platform that's secure, that's compliant, that's protected, and integrated across Microsoft Teams, Salesforce, Slack, ServiceNow, maybe in some cases competing companies that they want to make sure they have interoperability with. That's how we end up being very, very differentiated across the Microsoft, but even broader competitive landscape.
Yeah.
Are you typically deployed alongside with Teams?
Yeah. So in a Microsoft Teams organization, we would be deployed along with Teams, but we also have a lot of customers that use Slack and Zoom instead of Microsoft Teams. So I would say Teams is just one of the many applications that our customers are rolling out. It's obviously an incredibly popular and dominant one in the broad collaboration space. And yes, we do jointly deploy with Microsoft Teams in those Microsoft environments for sure.
Yeah, I was going to address exactly that second part of the question that you just brought up. The benefit to Microsoft of collaborating with us, among other things, is that for customers that actually want to have something beyond Microsoft, we are the bridge. So if you use Teams and use anything from Salesforce, say Salesforce.com, the way to keep the content flowing from Salesforce to Teams is through Box. And we are the unifying content layer there that neither company can do on their own. Sometimes even within the companies, they cannot do it very well either. So if you work with Salesforce.com and with Slack, we also bridge that gap because they haven't integrated anything natively, and they probably will not because we solved that problem already. So both companies need us for sometimes internal integration and sometimes cross-company, cross-supplier integration that our customers need that much. So in order to reduce the friction of, well, what do we do if we have Microsoft and Salesforce? Maybe we should opt for something else that the customer may wonder. By having Box and Teams, they solve that problem. So it's kind of a good status quo where basically we provide the solution for that interoperability.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Our next question is coming from Steve Enders with Citi. Steve, if you can unmute.
Hi, great. Thanks for taking the question here. I just want to ask about the FedRAMP high that you achieved with VA. I guess how should we kind of think about what that kind of means for the broader opportunity within the federal space, and what that also means for the state and local opportunity going forward?
Yeah. So FedRAMP is super important to us. All things compliance, security, data privacy is a core focus. VA has been the partner on driving our FedRAMP High initiative and is the first customer to leverage that. It's still going through the full authorization across all of FedRAMP, but VA is deploying in that capacity right now. Overall, we see a ton of opportunity across SLED and federal. So we're doing great state level and city level deals that are increasingly meaningful in size, and we've long had a very robust, still kind of increasing in scale, but robust federal business. Organizations like NASA and others that we've Air Force that we've made announcements around. So we're super excited about the work that we're doing in the federal space, and we see a ton of opportunity because if you think about the trends that are driving any corporate environment, those trends are in some cases even more significant in the public sector. A ton of legacy infrastructure, a ton of legacy enterprise content management systems, and yet extremely mission critical, very, very security intensive use cases around content. So we think our platform is well set up for those use cases. Yeah, the digitization that goes together. So you have the compliance world and also the move to digital that the government adopted tremendously because of the pandemic. Now basically is becoming a norm. So the combination of the two works. In our roadmap, we keep investing in things that are very much basically benefiting the federal space. StateRAMP, as you mentioned quickly, is another one that we recently got certified for the same reason. And it's important for us. So we will continue to prioritize it. And we see many customers and a big pipeline for that sector.
Perfect. Thanks for taking the question.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
We have a question that came in through the chat. Can management tackle the long-term concern that more workflows eliminate file sharing for in-app multi-tenant collaboration? For example, will Adobe users rely less on Box if they embrace Figma?
Yeah, this is a super important topic. Philosophically over time is sort of what's the role of content and files as it moves to the cloud. And this is increasingly why you're seeing us invest in a lot of cloud native partnerships and integrations. Our integration with Microsoft Office 365 in the cloud lets you stay completely in the browser and do all of your editing of documents inside of the browser. We have a very similar partnership, and Thomas Kurian from Google had a conversation with us on stage at CIO Works about that same integration that we have, but with Google Workspace, which is Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. We also then now have our own entrance into this space with Canvas and Notes. So we think the role of the file is changing. It's moving from being just a desktop type use case to now being a web-based use case, and we're going to be integrated into all of the major applications that our customers use in the cloud. So we think this is only a good thing for the long-term trend to have more collaboration in the cloud, more generation of content, more need to be able to work with those digital assets across a wide variety of applications.
Yeah, I would say the importance that every company, including Adobe, are giving to collaboration and basically solving the digitization trends further is going to continue to basically prove that our investment on Canvas is reasonable. I don't think there's a problem with workflows in that scenario because basically we can continue to workflow mostly anything that we integrate with as well.
Great, thank you. Another question that came in over email. To dive a little deeper into Box Sign, can you talk about the strategy here as far as competing against other e-signature vendors such as Adobe or DocuSign, and when you would be, I guess, at feature parity against those particular vendors?
Okay, I can tackle that first.
Yeah.
So our strategy has been to launch and focus on the center of the feature sets that are most essential and gradually move to the corner use cases. So it's okay during the first phases of a launch that we don't cover every corner use case, and we intend to solve what our customers are asking. They say, hey, please, can you deliver something that will do 90% of the features soon, and then gradually extend to the corner use cases, because we may buy a few licenses perhaps of those other point solutions, but we want to do the vast majority with Box. And we are delivering to that premise first. But it doesn't mean that we're not building the most extraordinarily excellent product and that we will not continue to also extend to those corner use cases as time goes by. So we are doing those extensions to the corners as customers provide feedback and we triage. But as I mentioned during the first question, we want to make sure that we continue to develop every product that we launch. So Sign was launched already, but we will continue to expand. Now, there is no specific date for feature parity because obviously it depends not only on us, but on what others do. But there are some areas where we are already ahead. The way we integrate with workflow, the way we integrate with security, and the point of platform that we were talking about is already ahead of many. The compliance points that some other vendors, without maybe naming names, but some of those that you mentioned in some areas are not as compliant as we are. It's already a differentiator, even though we launched it not too long ago. So we will differentiate and be ahead and leapfrog in some areas and be patient in others. It's all driven by customer need. Now, you should expect that over time, we not only will be at feature parity, but surpass, but we don't intend to claim that we will surpass everywhere or at any given date, because that's not what actually our customers are asking.
Great. Thank you, Diego. Our next question is from George Iwanek with Oppenheimer. Aaron, can you expand on the areas where Box is really doubling down in on R&D? Also, where can automation be expanded? And tangential to that is, what are nearer-term focus points versus longer-term strategic objectives with regard to products?
Yeah.
Okay. So workflow that we mentioned in different ways, and especially some types of business workflows, is one of the areas. It's not the only one, but it's one of the areas where we will double down. So the integration of Sign and workflow, and the addition to basically bring the ability to have templates or initiate processes that actually start the document faster and easier to go for signature, is one area we will continue to invest and accelerate in our portfolio. Of course, security, compliance, and governance and enterprise management of assets is essential too. So that pillar will always be essential for Box and will continue to be an investment area, but in particular because of what we see in the market. So all these attacks that are so prevalent are an area of serious concern for every enterprise, and of course for us as well. So protection against malware, internal and external actors, protection against ransomware, and all the prevention we can do there is of high value, and we will continue to double down on that. Aaron mentioned the importance of also working with APIs and have everything we do with the ability to have third parties or our customers directly use them. Taking our SDKs is one of the fastest growing areas for Box, and we will continue to invest there. So mostly every one of these three pillars that you see are going to continue to get investment.
I think the thing that is super exciting is we just got done with a couple, maybe even 2 months worth of product strategy sessions that sort of look out 18 to 36 months in terms of where the product is going. And the richness of innovation and the expansiveness of the vision is really incredible. I've never seen anything like it in the history of the company. And so for us, what we get really excited about is just literally how large this category will become. And I think in some cases has been either underdeveloped or hasn't been able to reach its full potential because of the fragmentation, because there hasn't been kind of cloud-first solutions that take a platform-oriented approach. So you're going to see a ton of innovation across security, workflow, collaboration, APIs, everything that obviously we've talked about today. There are significant spaces that we're going to continue to expand into.
That's great. Thank you. I guess this is a good follow-up to that we got via chat, and it will be our last question is you approach all these new features and products, Aaron and Diego, are we always going to be including them within a suites package, or will any of these particular products or features be priced individually? What is the strategy there for Box?
we don't intend to nickel and dime our customers. Our customers are very happy with the approach we've taken with suites and the integration of value. In a way, we are taking the monies we get and reinvesting them back and giving them back to our customers. It's working really well, both for the growth of Box, but also for the growth of our customers. So the approach we have is working, and we'll keep it that way.
Yep. And then, and I think the exciting thing is being able to have this multi-product, suite strategy, which of course will continue to expand over time in terms of additional packages on top of the existing ones. So the plan, packaging that we currently have will continue to get more robust in time. We also have consumption-oriented models with APIs that let customers integrate that functionality into their applications, which creates yet another vector of growth over time. But as Diego mentioned, the model's working extremely well. It has been largely responsible for a lot of the go-to-market transformation we've been able to drive in the past few years, is that simplification of packaging and getting customers to move up our plan tiers. So you're going to see us continue to double down in this space.
Fantastic. Well, Diego, Aaron, thank you very much. And for those watching, all of this presentation will be on our IR website, and all of the other presentations from BoxWorks 2022 will also be available on the Box.com website for you to view. And with that, we look forward to updating you on our next earnings call.